My name is Chief Obidike. People in my town call me Ochiliozua, the man who lifts others up. I own one of the biggest transport companies in Enugu. To the world, I look like a successful man with a happy home. But the truth? My life is built on one big lie that I have carried for more than 20 years. I have one son, Chike. At least that's what everybody believes. He is my pride. I trained him in the best schools, sent him abroad, gave him everything I never had. Each time I looked at him, I saw the future of my name, the one who would continue my legacy. But deep down, I always felt a kind of fear I couldn't explain. Then there is Nonso, my late brother's so-called son. From when he was small, the boy always reminded me of something I didn't want to remember. He looked too much like me. His eyes, his walk, even his anger, it was as if I was watching my younger self move around. I avoided that boy more than I should have, even when my mother and late brother's wife, Grace, begged me to help him more. I gave him work in my company, yes, but I kept my distance. I told myself it was because I didn't want people to talk. But the truth? I was running from my own shame. You see, years ago, after my brother died in an accident, Grace was left alone with a baby in her womb. I went to check on her often. She was lonely and I was weak. One night, it happened. I told myself it was a mistake that nobody must ever know. When Nonso was born, my mother saw the resemblance, and she warned me that blood will always call blood. I begged her to keep quiet. I told her to let people believe Nonso was my brother's son. And that was how the lie began. Many years passed. Chike and Nonso grew up like brothers. They ate together, played together, fought together. Sometimes I would see them laughing and my chest would tighten. One was my known son, the other was my hidden son. I thought I had buried that secret forever. Until that morning when my mother's maid ran into my sitting room shouting, "Chief, Mama Agatha is calling for you and the boys. She said she must talk before she dies." That was the moment I knew. The past I buried was about to wake up. I remember that morning like yesterday. My heart was heavy as I entered Mama Agatha's room. She was lying on the bed, frail and pale. Her eyes, though weak, burned with a kind of fire I had never seen. She called me close, then she called Chike and Nonso. The boys came running, laughing at first, thinking it was just another one of Grandma's stories. But then she looked at us, all three of us, and said, "My children, my sons, I must tell you the truth before I die." I froze. My heart skipped a beat. I knew immediately what she meant. Every secret I had buried, every lie I had told myself to sleep at night, every step I had taken to protect my name, it was all about to crumble. Mama Agatha took a deep breath. "Chief Obidike," she said slowly, "you must tell them the truth." She turned to Nonso and Chike. "Nonso, you are not just Chike's cousin. You are his brother. Obidike is your father too." I felt the world tilt. The room seemed to spin. Nonso's eyes widened. I watched Chike freeze. I tried to say something, to stop her, but the words stuck in my throat. I had no excuse. Nonso looked at me, his mouth opening and closing like he was trying to breathe underwater. What are you saying?" he stammered. You are my father?" I wanted to disappear. I wanted to tell him, "No, it is a lie." But even I could not deny the truth anymore. Every instinct in me screamed to protect my pride, to hide behind lies, but Mama Agatha's eyes bored into me. She was like a judge and a mother all in one. Chike stepped forward, angry, confused. "Is this true, Dad? You knew all this?" I could feel my chest tighten. I tried to speak, tried to find words that could fix everything, but the shame swallowed me whole. It was complicated," I muttered. I didn't know how to. Nonso's face turned red with anger, but also hurt. "All these years I called you uncle, worked for you, trusted you, and you denied me, treated me like I was nothing." I could only look at him and feel a crushing weight of guilt. Chike, too, looked at me differently. My own son, raised in luxury and comfort, now seemed to see the ugly part of me, the selfish, weak man who chose pride over truth. Mama Agatha coughed and whispered, "I had to tell you. Before I die, I had to make sure you know who you are." And just like that, my house, my life, changed forever. The boys, once brothers in spirit, now had a wall between them, and I was the wall. After Mama Agatha died, the house was quiet, but my mind was a storm. I could see it in the boys' eyes, the way they looked at me, at each other. Everything had changed. Chike, my firstborn, was confused, maybe a little scared. Nonso, I had never seen such hurt and anger in a child's eyes before. And now he was a man, standing before me, calling me out for all the years I denied him. At first I thought the boys would cool down. Maybe they would forgive me, maybe things would settle. I was wrong. Nonso stopped smiling. The boy who used to laugh at every joke, who used to help around the office without complaint, suddenly became quiet, cold, like he was measuring every word before he spoke. I watched him leave the house one afternoon, slamming the gate behind him. I wanted to call him back, to explain, to beg, but I knew my pride would stop me. And even if I tried, would he listen? Chike too changed. He looked at Nonso with a mix of fear and suspicion. Every small thing became a fight. A missing pen, a mismanaged report at the office. Suddenly Nonso was the problem. And Nonso, tired of being denied, began to strike back in ways that chilled me. The people in town began to whisper. Some knew Mama Agatha's secret. The rumour spread like fire in dry grass. I could feel it. People looked at me differently, looked at my sons differently. My name, once respected, now felt fragile in my hands. One evening I watched Chike storm into Nonso's room at the company, shouting, accusing him of undermining him. I wanted to stop them, but I could not. My own blood fighting in my house because of the lie I carried for so long. Later, I confronted Nonso in my office. I told him he was part of the family, that I acknowledged him as my son. But he didn't listen. His eyes were flames. All these years, you made me feel like a stranger, like I didn't belong. You let him have everything while I suffered, and now you want me to just smile? I had no words. My heart was breaking and my pride was screaming. I could see it clearly. I had planted this fire, and now it was burning my house down. That night I sat alone, staring at the old family photos. Chike laughing, Nonso grinning. 2 boys, 1 father and me, the man who failed them both. I prayed, I begged silently, but deep down I knew I had started something that might never heal. And in that moment I realized, the truth I tried to hide, the love I denied, the pride I held onto, all of it had begun to turn my blood into fire. I never thought truth alone fit destroy everything, but I was wrong. I watched it happen, helpless, as the house I built with my hands began to crack. Chike and Nonso, my sons, my blood, they were no longer my boys. They were enemies. It started with small things, a word here, a look there, but it quickly grew. Chike accused Nonso of trying to take his inheritance. Nonso accused Chike of being spoiled and blind to the pain he caused. Every meeting, every meal, every family gathering became a battlefield. I tried to stop it. I called them both into my office, sat them down and said, "My sons, this fighting is foolish. We are family. You are brothers. I was wrong. I should have told the truth long ago." Chike stared at me, his face red, his fists clenched. "Dad, how could you? How could you let him suffer while I had everything? And now you expect me to just forget?" Nonso laughed bitterly, a sound that made my chest tighten. "Forget? You want me to forget that for 20 years? I worked for you, called you my uncle, and you never once recognized me as your son. Do you know what that feels like?" Before I could answer, Chike lunged at Nonso. I shouted, tried to pull them apart, but it was too late. The fight was violent, raw. Fists flew. Chairs toppled. My own sons, who once shared secrets and laughter, were now hurting each other. I tried to intervene, tried to hold Nonso back, but in the heat of anger he pushed Chike too hard. Chike fell, hit his head on the edge of the table, and I felt my blood run cold. I ran to him, shaking, calling his name. Nonso froze, staring at Chike's still body. I could see the panic in his eyes, the horror, the guilt. My 2 sons, my own blood, and I had done nothing to prevent it. The ambulance came. Chike was rushed away. Nonso sat on the floor, silent, hands shaking. I wanted to scream at him, but what words could punish him for a pain he didn't fully intend? And what punishment could heal the wound my pride and lies had opened in all our hearts? That night, I sat alone in my office, my head in my hands. The house was quiet, but the silence was deafening. I had wanted to protect my reputation. I had wanted to hide a mistake, but instead I almost lost everything, almost destroyed both my sons and my family with my lies. And in that silence I whispered to myself, "God, forgive me. I am the cause of this fire." Chike survived the accident, but when he woke, he was not the same. He could barely remember everything that happened in that house, but he remembered enough to feel anger, confusion, and betrayal. Nonso sat by his bedside, silent, hands shaking, eyes red. I watched them both and felt my heart break into pieces I could never put back together. I called Nonso to my office the next morning. I wanted to speak, but words felt useless. How could I explain 20 years of lies in a few sentences? How could I make him understand that fear and pride had guided my actions more than love? Nonso looked at me, and I saw the pain in his eyes, pain that I had caused, pain that no apology could erase. "I don't want your forgiveness, Father," he said quietly. I need to live my life without being your shadow, without being the boy you denied." Chike, still weak but sharper now, spoke after a moment. "Dad, I don't even know who I am anymore. Everything I thought I knew about us, about you, it's all wrong. And Nonso, he's my brother, but I don't even feel like we are brothers now." I bowed my head. I had no answer. I had nothing to give them but my shame and my guilt. Days passed. I tried to bring them together, to make them see each other as sons, as brothers, but it was not easy. Nonso decided to leave the city. He wanted a fresh start, away from the whispers, away from the wealth and the bitterness. Chike stayed, still recovering, still trying to make sense of everything. I sat in my office alone, staring at the old photo of them as boys, laughing, happy, unaware of the secrets I had buried. I realized that love, truth, and blood do not always make a family whole. Sometimes lies, even small ones, can fester and grow until they destroy everything. I called Grace, Nonso's mother, on the phone. I tried to apologize. I tried to tell her that I would have done things differently if I could. She listened, silent, and said only, "You can't take back the years, Obidike, but maybe you can try to do better for the rest." And that is what I vowed to do. I could not change the past. I could not undo the hurt, but I could try to be better, to be a father to both my sons in the time that remained. I do not know if the boys will ever forgive me completely. I do not know if Chike and Nonso will ever be the brothers they could have been. But I have learned, too late, that truth is not just a word. It is a life you carry, and when you hide it, it can burn everything you love. And I sit in my mansion staring at the photograph one last time, whispering to myself, "I gave them blood, but I almost lost them forever, and now I pray I can find a way to give them love."